everyone, welcome to Santa's Workshop for 2022. I'm Cheryl at the Sewing Basket in Plymouth, Wisconsin. So every year for our Santa's Workshop, we design a pattern, a free downloadable pattern, and this year we did our Northern Star table runner. Obviously, if my pattern is called the Northern Star, I needed some stars to make for the pattern. When I decided which star to do for my first runner, the gray and red one, I went to my handy dandy little quilt quick and easy block tool book. Again, I've talked about this many times, but it is my go-to reference for everything. I flipped through it. I knew I was going to do a 9-inch finished block. So I looked through my 3-inch grid in the book because all of those pieces will be 3 inches across, giving me a 9-inch finished block. And I decided on the Star of Hope block. So you can see that this block is going to have 4 corners that are solid, the center that is solid, and then that little 3-part or 3-triangle block that makes the points of your star. So that was a very basic star to make. You can also go, there's a second book with the quick and easy block tool. These get a little more complicated, a little more piecey, but challenge yourself with that too, okay? So when I made my stars, it was a very basic, simple, the 5 squares, and then my 3 triangles for my points of my star. And then once I have my star block done and squared up, I'm going to add that triangle onto the corners. So it's going to end up being a 14-inch square. And I'm going to make 2 of those blocks. And then to determine the length, this is where your table runner can be adjustable to any size table. So I took this, my one block ends here, and my other block ends right here. So about 1 inch in from the white background of the block. And then this piece in between, I cut that 14-inch strip, and I just trimmed off the salvages and added the full 40 or 41 inches in between my 2 blocks. That gave me a longer runner. If you have a shorter table and you want a smaller runner, all you have to do is, again, you make your 2 blocks. So my block ended here, my other block ended here. And then to determine what the shorter length is for that, I just place my 2 blocks on my table. I want my table runner to start here. I want it to end here. You're going to measure the length in between the 2 blocks and cut that strip at that length. So you can easily adjust the center piece of this fabric to fit whatever table you're looking to put it on. Okay. I'm going to talk a little bit about, for this spiky star, I have 2 rulers to do a quick little demo on for the Tri-Rex block that you use for it. So again, this was a pretty simple little pudgy star. You can see that my background only goes about halfway up the block. And to get the spiky star, that background is going to go all the way to the center of that block. So traditionally, and actually I'm going to tilt my camera down here a little bit so I'm on my working surface. So traditionally for that block, you use this Tri-Rex tool. It's going to give you your triangle, and then it's going to give you your half a rectangle. So the Tri-Rex, right? The triangle and the rectangle. I'm going to use these rulers, and you have the blunted end, and I'm going to look at whatever line I have on here. So I've already cut these out, and I know I want a 3-inch finished block for my star. So I'm going to use my 3.5, which will give me a 3-inch finish. And I'm going to cut out my triangle piece with my flattened end, okay? Then when I use my Rex part of the ruler, and if you keep your fabric folded right sides together, have a strip that's folded right sides together, you're going to be cutting out both pieces at the same time. So again, I've put it at my 3.5. Oops. And I'm cutting out the other pieces for my little block. Then, once I have them cut out, I'm going to take my center triangle. I have my mirror images, so this one's going to go on one side, this one will go on the other side. Again, with those blunted little corners on there, it makes it lining up those edges very easily. I'm going to sew one piece on, iron it open, sew the other piece on, and I will ultimately end up with my little rectangle. Okay? These older tools, some of them, a lot of the newer tools come now with grips on them that help it from sliding around. If you have some of the older ones and they're slippery when you're cutting, there is the grippy spray, which is really nice. You can just spray a little bit of it on the back of your ruler, and it'll help from things sliding around as you're cutting. So, you know, before they came up with either that yellow film or the grip dots like the Creative Grids have, if you have those rulers, and you can always use a grippy spray on them. All right. So the other ruler that we have is by Creative Grids, and it's called the Strippy Star. And it's a little bit of a funky looking I'm just trying to find a, right? It's got a funky shape to it, okay? But this side gives you the triangle piece, the center piece, from 1 inch up to 2.5 inches. And then if you flip it around, this piece is going to give you from 3 to 4.5. So it's just giving you different sizes. And for this one, you're going to start with a square of fabric for what is ultimately going to be my triangle. And the way this one works, let me tilt it down just a little bit more, is if you don't like having to sew those bias edges and cut those pieces out ahead of time, with my square, I'm going to take my ruler, and on the back side, I'm going to line up what is my finished 3-inch block. Okay, so I'm going to lay the ruler on there. There's 2 little lines on here, so everything is straight and lined up in your corner. And then you're going to draw a line on either side. So instead of cutting, you're drawing the line. My favorite pencil for drawing is the Bone mechanical pencil. So this one, it gives you a super fine point. So when you're drawing those lines, you have a real sharp line. You don't have a fat line that you're trying to guess exactly where to sew. It comes with the white and the gray lead. It also has green and pink and yellow thread. So today I've put in my pink my pink lead, so that I can see it on my white fabric. So I'm just going to take and I'm going to draw that line on each one of my squares. So you can see here, I got my little triangles drawn on there. And then what you do is you take those triangles and you're going to have a strip of fabric. So it's the Strippy triangle or the Strippy Star ruler. And I'm going to lay the fabric with the line side up 1/4 inch in from the edge of my green fabric. And I'm just going to sew right on the line. And then I'm going to add another one and leaving about 1/4 inch in between. And I'm going to sew on the line and sew on the line, okay? And then I'm going to cut them apart when they're still in this position, cut them apart in between those 2 lines. That is going to give me my squares that have half of a funky strip on them, okay? Then I'm going to take another piece of fabric and I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. I'm going to line up that pink line 1/4 inch in from the edge. And you can just eyeball that because they give you a little bit extra width in the strip for squaring up. So again, I'm going to add that one. I'm going to take the next one, add it on, and keep going until my strip is full. Once I cut them apart, I'm going to have, so you can see that white triangle starting to form, and now my green pieces are just a little bit wonky. But now you're going to square up the block from the back side. So I'm going to use that 3-inch square that I started with, and I'm going to trim away all the green to the edges of those squares. And that is going to leave me with this. So you can see I still have the 2 layers here. Now you can trim away this back layer if you want to, or you can leave it in, it's up to you. So for people who like to be able to sew on the line and not sew on that diagonal, it just makes it much easier to make these little sharp points for that scrappy star. All right, that's all I have for our pattern today. I'm going to be doing a second video going through some of the other notions and gadgets and gift items that we'll have available for Santa's Workshop this year. And you have a great day. Bye.